Hi, welcome to the Avid Knits podcast. My name is Sarah, and you can find me on both Instagram and Ravelry, both as Avid Knits. Today is Friday, August 15th, and it is shaping up to be a pretty hot one here in Houston. So that's about par for the course for August for us. And there's my weather report via Amy of Stranded. Yeah. If you are a new viewer, thanks so much for checking out the podcast. I know there are a ton of them. I really appreciate you stopping by. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Today it feels like I have a lot to talk to you about. I'm sure that like in 15 minutes I'll be scrambling for topics. But today I have a finished object for you. I have a couple of works in progress. I have a new sweater cast on. I have a knit along I want to get involved in, and one that is closing up pretty quickly on my end. So yeah, let's get into the quick administration stuff. I'm sorry, the camera's blocking me. Okay, hopefully I cut that out and you didn't see me sitting there making faces trying to get the camera right there. Okay, so some administrative stuff. We are running a Summer Sun make-along here in the Ravelry group. The podcast has a Ravelry group. I'll leave a link to it in the description box. In that Ravelry group, I am pronouns. I got it. It's cool. I'm awake, you guys. It'll happen. I am running the Summer Sun make-along, which is a make-along for any summer top or 3/4 sleeve sport weight or lighter garment for the summer because it's hot, you guys. So it can be made out of anything. Details for that are all in the Ravelry group. It does close on the 31st of August, so you only have a couple weeks left. But you know, it's time to finish off something. Whips are allowed. You don't have to finish. Put your stuff in the chatter thread. Put your works in progress in there. Use the hashtag on Instagram so that I can draw prizes, because there are very few of us, and it's getting to a point where I'm just going to send it to somebody. So just a quick reminder, the prizes for that knit along are going to be a skein of this really beautiful rose gold color by Amanda Hope Yarn, and this is a fingering weight merino. This makes a beautiful, beautiful fabric. So I really, really encourage you to get involved in this. And we are also giving away stitch markers. I know it's backward. I forget. I'm sorry. Anyway, you can't see anything because of the price tag. I keep forgetting to take this price tag off. This was gifted to the podcast by Wendy of Amanda Hope Yarn. I helped out at her booth at Houston Fiber Fest, and she was kind enough to donate this for the podcast. So thank you very much, Wendy, and hi to you and your hubby. I miss you guys. So anyway, they are just various shapes of stitch markers. So you have rounds, you have light bulbs, and then there is a progress keeper, which is this beautiful fleur-de-lis type. Not me. Here we go. There we go. It's this beautiful fleur-de-lis, which is the emblem of her company. Okay, so you will get both of those as a prize for your participation in the make-along. Alrighty. A couple of you have been asking me, not asking me, I guess, but making comments about my spider co-host that we don't ever get to see because I'm not gonna... I don't know. He crawls across the window every now and then. So he's not my friend. Like, he doesn't have a name. So I thought that I needed a co-host for the podcast, and so this is him. This is my co-host for my podcast, and it is a little tiny needle felted alpaca. And it is needle felted in the Huacaya Rose Gray. Number 6. It's a Lanart original, handmade from Peruvian alpaca and Highland wool. It's animal-friendly fiber, fair trade practices, and handcrafting. I got it at Houston Fiber Fest, and it was from an alpaca farm. And I'm so sorry, I cannot remember the name of the company. I'll try to find it. But they were lovely. So yeah, you can get your own little alpaca. They come in lots of different colors. Some of them have hats. They're pretty cool. You can get your own at lanart.net, and I will put the website here for you if you really like him and you want to go get one. So he's pretty cool. He or she, it can be gender neutral. He can be they can be non-binary. I don't care. I need a name. So, that's going to be a giveaway, is to help me name my co-host. So if you'll pop all your ideas down in the comment section right here, and whenever I pick one, whoever's name I pick will get a little something from me. So my co-host is going to hang out right here and look out the window at this really pretty morning. It looks really pretty from in here. I'm sure if I opened the door, it would be like a sauna bath of humidity. So I am podcasting a lot earlier in the day than I normally do, so I'm sorry if the light is different. I was supposed to be going to League City this morning, which is 45 minutes away, maybe. It's on the other side of Houston. So, like, I live on the west side, about central, so I'm about 15 minutes from downtown, and then League City is south and then east, so it'd be about right here. So I'm pretty much completely across the way. Really, the only time I end up in League City is if we're going down to Galveston. We do have a really nice yarn store out there called Park Avenue Yarns. If you're ever in the Houston area, I really recommend giving them a visit. They've got a lot of stuff. And honestly, I don't really have any plans for today because it's Friday and we don't homeschool on Fridays. I have a 4-day school week. My son is going to stay with his grandmother for the weekend, and I'm really excited about date night with my husband. We're celebrating, oh my God, life and whatnot. I'll talk about this later. Anyway, my point is I don't have any plans for Friday. And my son has been begging me for a brown sweater for a couple of years now. So I might take a spin out there. But I'll talk a little bit more about that later in life and whatnot and stuff. I have so much to talk to you about. I have podcasts to recommend to you. I have news to tell you. I have things that I'm doing in my day that I just feel like talking to you about. I'm podcasting relatively early today. Oh my God, Sarah. This is why you come here, right? Because it doesn't get any better than this. This is the best it ever is. I am podcasting a little bit early today because I was supposed to have to drive out to League City this morning, but those plans got canceled, unfortunately. Hi, Betsy. I'm really sad we're not meeting up right now. Also, we're refinancing our house, and that has been the biggest nightmare. Buying the house is easier than refinancing it has been, and I don't understand why that is. Hooray, VA loan, yay. But I had to get a termite inspection that I had done a year ago, but I had to have it done again, which is fine. And the gentleman came out and he was very quick. He was very friendly. Everything was great. But I did have somebody knocking on my door at 9 a.m. this morning. So that's not super early for us necessarily, but it is very early for us to have visitors or to be out of the house. You know, that's usually breakfast time in this household, I guess, or just after, you know. Me and my son, neither of us are really morning people, so we usually have really slow, quiet mornings and don't really probably get moving until about 10:30, 11 o'clock. Like, that's when I start socializing, which is about what time it is now, and I'm podcasting, which is why I'm making no sense. Okay. For fear of sitting here for the next 2 hours prattling on about absolutely nothing, let's get into the knitting. I have a finished object and I'm so excited because the miles of stockinette are finally over. This is a wonderful project. I had a lot of fun making it, and you've seen it before. It is my pavement sweater. So this is Pavement by Vera Valimaki, and I did knit the 47-inch size, is 47-inch bust, so it has a lot of ease on me. And the drape of the yarn means that it's pretty much going to fit anybody. If you've ever been interested in this pattern, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And you can make it a little bit more fitted to make it more of less of a cozy up sweater and more of something to wear with like skinny jeans or leggings. It's kind of a tunic cut. So it has a very, very long body. So, and then down here you have a garter stitch hem. And you can see the short rows right there where it comes up over the hips. So it is lower in the front and lower in the back and sort of arcs over your hip, which is really, it's a really, really flattering cut. And it has 3/4 sleeves, which also have garter stitch cuffs, the garter stitch neckline. And can you just look at this yarn? Look how pretty. This is Night Owl Fibers in the tawny all-wool base. It's 100% superwash merino in the Space City colorway. And Space City is a nickname for Houston because we have the Johnson Space Center and NASA. All right. That's my finished object, you guys. Oh, I have a second one. Where's it at? Living in my fringe field bag. This is my dark watch or black watch. I can't remember what the name of it was from a couple of years ago that my husband got me for Christmas. I have finished a pair of socks, and hopefully he doesn't watch the podcast. He, my brother-in-law is turning 29 this year, on the 20th, and he is the only family member that does not have socks. Now, he has a blanket. He has a crocheted blanket, and he has a couple of hats from me because he lived with us for a while, and he's my favorite, and so he got those things. But he does not have a pair of socks, and he's the only family member out of like 8 people who doesn't have a pair, and I was feeling really bad. So I knit him a pair of socks. And I knit them in a literal 2 days. And then I found out that they were too long because him and my husband have the same size feet. And then I found out they were too long, and I had to rip out a couple inches and then put the toe back on. It took all of like an hour. It wasn't a big deal. So these are my socks. Oh my God, they're showing up so well. This is exactly what they look like. They're stupid. They're crazy bright. The blue is a tiny bit darker. It's more along this line than this one. It's more like that color. This is Turtle Pearl Yarns, who is a Canada dyer, and you can get her stuff off of Etsy. It's beautiful self-striping. Beautiful self-striping and very generous yardage. There's a lot of yards in it. You actually do get 2 50-gram skeins that are meant for you to have matching stripes on your socks. But I was able to get both pairs out of one skein, and my stripes were able to match up. I had to cut out a little bit of a green section in order to get that to happen, but no big deal. My contrast heels are from So Happy Jane. This is her fingering weight superwash merino nylon in the Total Eclipse meets yarn colorway. So it's a spin off of Total Eclipse of the Heart, and it was done for the big solar eclipse that we had a couple of years ago. So it's just this really pretty navy and lots of blue. I have knit a pair of socks for my sister-in-law out of this, and so this is her brother, and so I just stuck a heel in, and I really love the effect. I really love the way it looks. Yes, Wendy, I know I have sock blockers, but I totally forgot about it until I sat down, and I forgot about the socks and everything. And so finding the socks and all of that stuff, I forgot about the sock blockers. I'm sorry. So I need to start using those. Yeah, so finished object number 1 is my brother-in-law's socks. And I say that I hope he doesn't watch the podcast because he quit his job. He was working for a company who turned out to be pretty racist. My family obviously is first generation Mexican, so he had a really racist boss and a kind of a weird work environment, and he was just really unhappy, and so he finally quit. And yeah, I'm taking him to a really fancy dinner to celebrate the fact he stood up for himself because I'm super proud of him right now. So he has a bunch of extra time on his hands. You know, he's doing like sunrise workouts in Galveston and reading books on the beach, and I'm not getting an invite, and I thought I was the favorite, Hyro, like, come on. Anyway, so I did knit him a pair of socks, and I'm really happy about them. I'm sorry, this is Turtle Pearl Yarns, and the colorway is We Aim to Misbehave, which is a reference to Firefly or Serenity. It is a line from Mal, who is the leader of the crew. I guess he's the captain of the Serenity. If you have not seen Firefly, you can find it on Netflix. It is only 1 season, and it's sort of a futuristic, what do they call them? Like space cowboy kind of thing. It's a futuristic thing. It's set in space, but it's more along like the colonization lines of like colonizing other planets, I mean. And it's very funny. It's very funny. I really recommend it. It was kind of a cult hit. If you're not into watching series, or if the series runs a little slow for you since there was only 1 season, the movie Serenity is based off of that show, and it basically finishes out what the story was supposed to be. So you can watch the movie completely independently, and I'm pretty sure he says it in the movie as well. So anyway, I was really happy to get that. That was a lot of fun. I really like a theme. I like anything that references something that, like fandoms and stuff like that. I think those are a lot of fun. Okay, so that's my only finished object. I have a sort of finished, a second finished object, I'm sorry. I have a sort of third. I did finish my freshly brewed socks. So these are the Blueberry Waffles pattern. Come on, not on me, on the yarn. It's a Blueberry Waffles pattern. It is knit up in the colorway Freshly Brewed by Artistic Lily. Here's what it looks like in the stockinette, and I just really love the juxtaposition of the texture versus the stockinette. So they do need heels, but I haven't decided if these are going to be for me. I really don't wear long socks. I have really thick calves, and so I have a hard time with long socks because I don't like doing all the shaping. I get bored. But I'm also, because I knit shorties typically, I usually have more than half of this skein of yarn left. So I love the way a long sock looks with a contrast heel and stuff like that. I just don't really wear them. So anyway, my heels are going to be done out of this. Ooh, that's really blowing out. That's not anywhere near what we look like. What do we... No, nothing like that. It's nowhere near that neon. I've shown this before on the podcast in better lighting, so I'm hoping that you will have seen it. No, nothing. It's more of a dusty, it's like a dusky rose kind of color. Anyway, this is from Sweet Georgia in their Tough Love sock, and I cannot remember the colorway. I'm sorry. I've tried looking for it online, but I bought this like 4 years ago, so I'm pretty sure they've retired that colorway by now. Yeah. So, before we get into works in progress, how's your day? What are you doing? Do you have a busy weekend coming up? I'm going to want to hear about it, so pop it down below. Tell me what's going on. I feel like I'm speeding. I know I'm speeding because there's nobody here to talk to me to like help me limit my rate of speech, I guess. And I talk fast naturally, so I'm really sorry if that ends up being an issue whenever you're watching this. I know sometimes whenever I'm editing, I mumble. Like I kind of mumble to myself, or I say something kind of under my breath and the phone doesn't necessarily pick it up. I'm really sorry about that. But when you're talking to yourself, like on a camera, you kind of talk to yourself as you would if you were just puttering around the kitchen. I grew up as an only child. I really enjoy my alone time. I talk to myself a lot. But since I already know what I'm going to say, it doesn't always have to be in complete sentences, right? So, I'm going to move on to works in progress because I have a couple of those too. The first work in progress I'm going to show you is one you've seen several times, and I'm just making steady progress on it. It's living in my Danica bag. This is their Beasties bag. You can buy this from, the company is Danica, and I'll put all the information in the show notes. The show notes are at the Ravelry group, by the way. But it'll be all linked into the show notes. I got mine at Hill Country Weavers, and I know that they have some. They actually have a couple variations. This was kind of, they have a couple of variations in the same art style, and I know that one of them is like pine trees and like maybe a sleeping bear or something, and he was so cute, and I wanted him so bad. But then I saw the creepy horned weird animals, and I was sold. So it is being super matchy-matchy with my work in progress, which is the Spectre sweater. This is by Joji Locatelli, and it is being knit out of Sweet Sparrow yarns, so it gradiates. So you have your beautiful, beautiful ribbed yoke, and I have my little, is he facing you? No, he's not. That's his butt. You don't want to see moose butt. That's not why you come here. This is not a moose butt podcast. There he is. Okay, so this is my super sweet little moose progress keeper. This is from the Angora Moose. And you know, I was looking for her site on Etsy the other day, and she's not pulling up. So I don't know. Maybe it's just my phone or my computer. Maybe it was just Etsy was being funny that day because of the whole new shipping policy thing. In case you're not familiar with that, I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail because I don't sell on Etsy, so I don't really know all of the things. But Etsy has basically made it that whenever you search for something, so if you go to Etsy and you put in self-striping yarn, it's going to recommend you companies who offer free shipping. Anybody who lives anywhere near a capitalist country will know that nothing is ever free. So basically what that means is that the yarn dyer has to foot the bill for shipping. And sometimes that's like $3 because, you know, yay post office or whatever, flat rate or whatnot. And sometimes it's a lot more than that. So I personally feel like it's a really uncomfortable thing to have to ask a very small business owner who is doing Etsy sales to be able, that's a big thing to ask. That's a lot of money to ask. And then to basically be punitive about it by saying that if you're not offering free shipping and you're not going to raise your prices to cover this, or that you're not willing to come out of pocket for it, we're not going to suggest your shop. I don't know, that's the height of crappiness in my opinion. That's just me. So as much as I like to buy off of Etsy, I am trying to find companies who don't come up first in the list. I'm trying to keep going if I can. So anyway, all of that to say that I can't find her shop, and so I don't know if maybe she's changing some stuff up. This is knit out of Sweet Sparrow Yarns, who does have an Etsy shop, but she is transitioning to her own website because of this policy, so that's why I bring it up. It is a gradient, so it starts out in Pajama Day. This is her Magpie base, which has a gold stellina, so I'm not sure that the camera's picking that up with the sunlight today. Hold on. Yeah, there you go. Just a tiny bit of it, you can see. It is not super sparkly. It's pretty subtle, but it is, when you look at it, you can see it, and it adds a very pretty kind of glow to the colorways. It's just really gorgeous. So the first color is Pajama Day. And then after the yoke, we move into Wrapped Up in Books, which then goes into Blackberry Mousse. And then that lastly fades into Clove. And I am just about to start the ribbing on the body, and then I'll be done with the body. I'm sorry, did that come all the way up? Okay, yeah, there we go. So yeah, then I'll be done with the body, and then I can get on to Sleeve Island, and I am ready for Sleeve Island. I'm ready to do that. As much fun as this has been an absolute joy to knit. I have not gotten bored once. I really just want to work on this only, but I had other things that I was needing to get finished, and so all I want to do is work on this. And to be honest, I kind of work on it to a point where like I end up getting the pains of it down my arm, and then I have to take like a day off. That might be today. Who knows, right? Also, I knit my socks on zeros, so to knit a pair of shorty socks, even though they were shorties, to knit them in 2 days, you know, that's, although they don't take super long, it is kind of straining. I typically knit on ones, but I find that my gauge is changing a little bit, and it was Turtle Pearl is a relatively thin sock yarn, so I wanted to make sure that I got a nice dense fabric, and it's still pretty stretchy, so there we be. My next work in progress is actually going to be the last one that I show you. I really haven't put any work on it, but I don't even know if I've discussed that I'm going to cast it on. I think I've mentioned it once, maybe. We're not going to mention how I skimmed through the pattern and missed the whole do the ribbing on the bottom and then had to rip that. Excuse me. Can you please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. My son has Lincoln Logs, and they come in this giant like popcorn, you know what I'm talking about, like the tins, the giant bucket barrel things or whatever. Anyway, and he's spinning the lid. He's rolling the lid like a wheel down the hallway and sneaking around watching me podcast. He calls it my broadcast, and he thinks it's super cool. I am sorry, this hair is driving me crazy, and I got my hair cut this weekend, and I'll talk about that in life. But just a spoiler alert, it's really short. It's a lot shorter than I wanted. And it's cut, I'll talk about all the details. Basically, it's cut really, really short. So you're supposed to part it on this side, but when I do, it only comes level with my ear right here. And it doesn't look bad, but it's a little bit more edgy than what I would wear on a daily basis. So like if I were to go out and like really do it, then it would be fine. So I style it this way, which gives me all these little tendrils because these are, you know, uneven pieces. They're supposed to be over here. But it's longer when I part it over here, so that's kind of what I've been doing. But now I have like little hairs that don't really know what they're supposed to do. This is not a hair podcast. You don't care. But I'm going to tell you anyway because you showed up today. Anyway, my best friend lives in Portland. One of my best friends. I have 3, maybe 4 really solid girlfriends that come hell or high water, you know? One of them lives in Portland, and she is about 6 inches shorter than I am. She's not as busty as I am. Like, we're very different shape-wise. And I have another thing to say about shape in life and whatnot, okay? So just stick with me. I have a lot to say about body positivity today. Anyway, she's my accessories girl. She's the only reason I knit hats, and I knit a lot of hats. Knit hats and fingerless mitts, and warm things that are relatively lightweight. Portland gets cold and it gets wet, but it doesn't usually get a ton of snow. But they like to go up Mount Hood and go camping and go hiking and stuff. She has a very boho chic, kind of flowy style, I suppose. And she requested a novelli, which is a top that I'm going to be blunt, I would probably never make for myself. I think it's super cute. I just don't think it would be flattering in my wardrobe. It's not really my aesthetic. It's not really my style. Something like the Nordiska is a little bit more my speed because of the V-neck and the fact it's a little bit lower in the back than it is in the front. Like, I would feel more comfortable in that than I would the novelli probably. Super exciting. I have some ribbing, you guys. I'm done with the ribbing. I'm ready to start the color work. But I got 8 rows through the color work chart before I read it again and was like, this is really weird that it doesn't have ribbing. Of course it has ribbing, which was fine. I would have just picked up and put the ribbing on it. It was fine. But then she and I had a talk about sizing. So her size means that I would knit her the 51 inch, which is, I mean, I have a size 40 bust. That's 11 inches of ease on me. That's crazy. So I was feeling really uncomfortable about the entire thing. And finally I asked her, I was like, look, will you please go in your closet and find your favorite shirt? Like, I've asked her before, but she's just never gotten around to doing it. So will you please go find your favorite shirt, lay it flat and measure it for me? And her favorite shirt ends up coming out to about 46 inches in circumference. So I was like, awesome, I'm going down a size. Because if I were to knit this for me, I would knit the 47. 6 inches of ease is fine. Anything over 6 on me personally, the way that I'm shaped, is a little slumpy looking, I guess. I'm relatively busty, but I have an hourglass shape. It's not a skinny hourglass. Don't get no ideas, I'm more in like the Marilyn Monroe hourglass, but it's not super defined. I'm thick. I'm a thick person, which is fine. I'm totally into that. And she is too. She's just a lot shorter and she's more petite than I am. She's thinner. I don't know how to explain this. She's smaller than me. Like, all of her dimensions are smaller, but her shape is roughly the same and she's shorter. So I was like, look, based off of your size and stuff, like, and your shape of your body, like, I feel like this would just be it would be cuter if it had a little bit less ease. And since your favorite shirt doesn't have that much ease, I would like to go down so it fits you really nicely in the shoulders, still has that flow that you want, but isn't a bag, She really likes that kind of stuff. If you've ever seen the project picture for Caitlin Hunter's Ingalls sweater, no offense to Caitlin, I mean, it's a very it's a very pretty photo. It's not my style at all. I personally think it looks like having a potato sack over you. Because the Ingalls is made right here, and then as soon as you get done with the yoke, you increase like 60 stitches all the way around so it bells. Not my aesthetic, not my style. Don't personally really like it. The sweater itself is pretty. But my friend likes that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But for the shape of this shirt, because it does not bell out, it is not an A-line, it is just a square, I thought that having a little bit less ease meant that her body would dictate the way that it draped a little bit better, and it wouldn't just wear her, I guess, is kind of what I was going for. And she agreed with it. It's fine. So there's that. There's my ribbing. This is a brown from... Oh, that's really pretty. Don't look at me. That's a really pretty representation, actually. This is a brown from Dream in Color, and it is a sparkle. This was part of a Knitting is Art kit, and if I can find a picture of the original kit, I'll pop it here so you can see what it was supposed to have been. But I don't care for all the colors together, and I don't really wear shawls, so I've used it as a toes and cuffs yarn a couple of times. And like I said, I really love this brown. I really love this like dark chocolate and kind of, it's got like these little cocoa and like a little bit of redness to it. I'm actually looking for a color very similar to this for a sweater for my son. So if anybody knows a yarn dyer who does really good browns, please leave it in the description box, or not description box, the comment section. Please leave it in the comment section or DM it to me on Instagram or something. I'm on the hunt for somebody who does a really good brown, and it's surprisingly hard to find. Anyway, I am making this out of Cozy Posy yarns in the single ply, which is the yarn that was used in the pattern. It's what she requested. And this is the color that was used in the pattern, which is honeycomb. And it's blowing out a little bit. It's more mustard, less orange. More mustard, less orange. And then my third color, so that's your main body color, and then the contrast color is the brown for the color work. And then for the in-between spaces, I am using Autumn and Indigo in the Autumn Rose color, which is left over from my Zweig, my purple Zweig. Prattle, 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 detail, detail, tangent. Story, oh my gosh. It's living in my Women of STEM bag. This is by Knitted Niceties. Her name is Mariah, and it is lined in blue test tubes. And it has pockets, and it's a very, very nice bag. This is her sweater size. And I don't know if she has an Etsy store. I'll look. If she has an Etsy store, I'll link to it. Otherwise, I'll just link to her Instagram, because I know that she posts up, and I know she does trunk shows and stuff. So she's pretty decent about like custom order kind of things. So if you see something you like, you can just buy it from her directly. Yeah. All right. So I have no acquisitions to share with you this week. I didn't get anything in the mail. But I have been, I don't know if you've noticed my color palette lately, but I have a lot of grays and a lot of pinks, a lot of muted tones, the brown, a lot of neutrals in my life right now. And that's fine. I'm a big neutrals fan. I really enjoy it. But I'm having one of those moments, I know that my socks were really bright, but I'm having one of those moments that I'm kind of bored, I guess, I'm still making really good progress on my sweaters. I'm still enjoying the knits, but I'm just I'm bored, and I'm done. I need a new vanilla sock on the needles, and I have one here that I've shown before. I made no progress on it. I don't do anything with it. This is Woolberry and her 7525. This is called Peppermint Bark. I am so ready for fall, you guys. So ready. Everybody's putting out their new fall colors and their patterns, and I am so excited. I'm so excited. So, I have a couple of fall plans, and I have a new future cast on, and I'm going to talk about those for a minute. We all know about the husband sweater of shame back here that I really need to work on. And I will. I'm going to cast that on. I'm going to let my hands rest a little bit. I would like to get through at least half of a sleeve on my Spectre before I cast that on. It's a garter pattern. It's all done in knit stitches on the front and the back because it's knit flat. And so that way you don't have to purl in order to achieve that Henley texture, that thermal texture. Not Henley, the thermal texture. So it'll be pretty easy on my hands and stuff, but my hands are a little sore right now, so I'm just going to kind of take it easy. So future maker plans is this nonsense right here. Look at that prettiness. This is Chicken Coop Dye Works, who is a relatively local to me dyer. I can't remember where she's based right off the top of my head. Here in the South. I'll look it up and I'll put it on the screen. I'm sorry. She's an absolute sweetheart. She's very, very lovely. But this is her Foghorn base, which is merino nylon. I'm pretty positive. Yeah, 7525 merino nylon, 463 yards. So, this is Chicken Coop Dye Works for the color in. This is backwards on the screen. I am so sorry. Anyway, you don't care. Oh, her colorway name is long. Hold on. It's called Hip, Tasty, Funky, Savvy Houston. And it is based off of a picture of some street graffiti art. It's a mural that we have. picture here, and she based it off of those colors. Houston is pretty well known for its street art. We have a couple. We have the a bridge over I-45 leading into downtown. It says "Be Someone," and that was tagged by a graffiti artist years ago, and they have basically finally decided to protect it. So every time somebody tags over it, they just repaint it, and it's become kind of our slogan is "Be Someone." So this is it. This is hip, tasty, funky, savvy Houston. So, some stuff about Houston that you might not know. We are the third most diverse city in the nation. We eat out more than anybody in the country except LA and New York. There are 11,000 restaurants here. The majority of them are not chain. Most of them are family owned. We have a lot of street art, a lot of culture. It's got a lot of urban influence to it, but it has everything. We are the cancer center of the world. We have Children's Medical Center. We have the MD Anderson Cancer Center. We have, when you look at our downtown skyline, we have like 4 sections. And so you have downtown, you have the medical center, you have the financial district, and then you have the Galleria. So we do a lot of shopping. There's oil here. There's any type of energy. Like, we're a very big energy center, very big energy capital. And not just for oil and petroleum and gasoline, but also for renewable resources or nuclear power, or there's quite a bit. We have a massive museum and theater district where it's a pretty neat city. It's a wonderful city, and I didn't know any of that before I moved here. So if you come to Houston, please say something. Don't come here and go from the airport to your hotel and then walk away talking about my city is dirty and it sucks, because the airport's not in the best side of town. No airport ever is. Whatever grows up around an airport is never the greatest stuff in a city, right? Anyway, so this is going to be my next pair of socks, and I'm super excited because this is not my wheelhouse, but it's super autumnal with these pops of green and this plum and eggplant and these oranges and russets and yellows, and I'm super, super, super excited about this. This is just really making me happy at the moment. I don't have anything for contrast yet, so I'm going to skein it up and see what it looks like, and then I guess I'll come up with something. Okay, yeah, this has been such a disjointed, random, weird podcast, so, sorry. Let's see. Y'all, I'm done. So I'm going to tell you about my weekend. So, I have a friend. His name is Rafael, and we call him Rafa. And he is from Panama. He left Panama 30-something years ago. A long time ago. Anyway, he's moved here after he moved to Europe for a while, and he moved here. He's got his citizenship last 2-3 years ago anyway. So that was really cool. It was really exciting for him. His husband is from Brazil, and Kitan got here last year maybe. And they came out to visit us. They live in Austin, so they drove the 2.5 hours out to come see us. Rafa is also the guy who cuts my hair. So, we've known each other for a decade at least, minimum a decade. And so Kitan came from Brazil. He lived in Sao Paulo, which is a giant city too, but it's very vertically built. So they came out to visit us, and so he got to see our 15-lane highways. So we got to kind of take them through Houston and show them around a little bit, which was a lot of fun. Kitan has never been to a zoo, and Houston has a wonderful, wonderful zoo. It's AZA accredited, which means that it has some of the highest standards for veterinary care and animal conservancy and stuff like that. It's a really wonderfully well done zoo. It's got a very large footprint. It's a hike. You can't, the animals are very well cared for. They are only pulled from the wild if it is a case of rescue, and they are not able to live in the wild. There is very minimal captive breeding. It's typically only done if it ends up being an endangered species and part of a conservation effort. They typically don't breed in-house. So it's a zoo that I feel pretty comfortable supporting. I'm a little on the fence about how I feel about zoos. I appreciate the fact that they end up being animal ambassadors, and that it educates people who live in cities and who may not have access to this kind of knowledge any other way. However, I feel like there are some animals that I don't really feel like any animal should be kept in a box or in a cage. I have a really hard time with that, particularly anything aquatic. Typically aquatic animals range so far in their lives as a normal migratory habit that I feel like putting them in a fishbowl is really crappy. So I have a very much stronger feeling towards things like SeaWorld than what I do with the zoo. The zoo does its level best, and the habitats in the Houston Zoo are very sizable. They're very sizable. So all that to be said, that I am still on the fence about the whole, I'm on the fence just like everybody is. You know, it's a wonderful thing to be able to go and see and do, but is it ethical and is it right? And I'm not going to be PETA over here and, you know, tell you not to like wear wool or anything like that. I'm just sharing a view. But he's never been to one. Period. Which, I don't know, that's such a thing, you know, like that's such a rite of passage as like childhood stuff. Like my son went to the zoo for the first time when he was 2, you know, I mean, and he was more concerned about the squirrels and the ducks and the blackbirds and calling everything pato than he was actually looking at the animals. So, we did that over the weekend. We took them to a couple of the tourist spots. You know, we did the Galleria, which is a 4-story mall with an ice skating rink, and it's got its own financial district in it. Basically, it's the place that you go to buy like Louis Vuitton and Prada and stuff like that. So it's got normal stores in it too. It's a tourist trap, and it's on Westheimer, which is a tourist trap. The whole street is a tourist trap, but it was fun. It was fun to see it from their eyes. You know, they light it up, and it's a very pretty part of town. Yeah, so they came in, and Rafa was kind enough to do haircuts for the family here in the house. And yeah, we did. He went way short. So I wanted the sides to be a little bit shorter because the last time I don't know if you know, it was just really kind of grown out and it was like coming down here. And I wanted it to be a little bit higher so that like I could tuck behind my ear, but he didn't have to necessarily. Or if I did, I have very thick parts back here. So what's happening is I was tucking it behind my ear and then this part was still coming over and that wasn't what I wanted. I wanted it to sit. I wanted the back to be a little bit shorter because it was pretty long still. And so he did that, but then he was like, well, to blend it, I have to cut it really, you know, he just cut it really short. He didn't ask me first. And so this is how it looks normally, which is fine. I mean, it's super volumey right now because I have it the other way, you know, but I mean, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is the side it's supposed to be parted on. And if it wasn't so poofy, it would be cute. It would be fine. So it's not bad. It's not bad. It was just a lot shorter. I thought it was going to be like here. So it was just a whole lot shorter than what I was expecting it to be. Not a big deal. I am not that person that cries over my haircut. Most of the time I sit down in the chair and he says, well, what do you want today? And I say, I don't care. It's fine. So I've had purple hair. I've had red hair. I've had brown hair. I've had black hair. I've had short hair. I've had pixie hair. I've had, it doesn't matter to me. The only thing I've never done is shave. I've never done like undercuts or anything like that. So that's the only thing I haven't done. But yeah, so he did that. That was very cool of him. And then they left on Sunday. And I don't know what happened to my week. I don't know what happened to me. It's been so busy and I don't know why. So busy, but I don't know what I did. Monday, I think I was just tired from the weekend. You know, we had a really busy week the week before because of the whole tire fiasco and all of that nonsense. We had a really busy week the week before. And then we had so we have these friends in. So Kitan doesn't speak English. He speaks Portuguese. Well, I don't speak Portuguese, but I speak Spanish. And Kitan speaks Spanish, but it's not perfect. But my Spanish isn't perfect either. And Rafa speaks Spanish and English and understands Portuguese, and he speaks it okay. So it was just this big, huge triangle of all of us having to translate things in 2 and 3 different ways or verify things with each other in 2 or 3 languages before we could communicate it with one another. So, you know, I'm speaking Spanish and my past and my future tenses or my conditional, you know, like he should do or you would if this happened, you know, those things for me, I can do it, but they're a little shaky sometimes. And so, you know, now I have to stop and I have to ask it in English and Rafa has to stop and he has to think about it in English and he has to tell me the Spanish way of it. And then he has to think about that, or Kitan he didn't get that, and so he has to say it in Portuguese. All of us were really tired by the end of the weekend. It's a lot of mental work, it's a lot of mental work. And my husband speaks Spanish too, but they don't really use it. Like they use it in family and stuff, but when you're family and when you've been speaking to each other for a long amount of time, or, his parents understand enough English that you can kind of Spanglish if you want to. And it was a good exercise for all of us. It was a lot of fun. I have not spoken that much Spanish since my first husband died, probably. So yeah, we had a good time. We put on some salsa music, and we stayed at the house, we barbecued, we had a couple of drinks, we danced a little bit. It was good stuff. I had a really nice time. It was a lot of fun. Monday, I shut down. My sister-in-law called me and was like, do you want to go to lunch after I do this? And I was like, no. But you can come here when you're done. So she didn't come over. She ended up having to work or something. Tuesday, my other sister-in-law called and wanted to know if I had plans with my son. And I told her, she was like, do you have plans with Hector? And I was like, today? And I didn't get an answer for 7 hours. Apparently she wanted to take him to the museum, but I don't know what happened. Let's see, Wednesday, I had a coffee date with my brother-in-law, the one I made the socks for. And honest to God, you guys, he really is my favorite. Like, my first husband's family are good people, but they all lived in Puerto Rico. They all live on an island, so I was never close to any of them. And I was definitely not what they were expecting. So although they're good people, that was never a relationship that was cultivated with us, like with me. And so to have in-laws that are in my son's life, in my life, that ask me out for coffee, that want to hang out, I have this one brother-in-law that, that's my best friend, hands down. Like, me and Jairo are very close, and we click very well. We really enjoy spending time together. And so, now that he's not working, I have a coffee date. So that's what I did Wednesdays. I had a coffee date. I ran some errands. Yesterday, me and my sister-in-law, I'm taking my brother-in-law out. Me and my husband. We are taking my brother-in-law out. And we go every week. We go every year, and we do, not a tux night, but we do a dress-up night. We do a dress-up night. We find a really fancy restaurant, and we go and spend probably way too much money on dinner. But we go because you never get to do that kind of stuff, We don't get to go do fancy things. And we live in a city that you can eat seafood from a cart on the beach, or you can grab tacos at a truck, or you can go spend $200 a plate on dinner. It just depends on what you want to do. We're not spending that kind of money on dinner. Don't at me, okay? We are going to go out to a place in downtown called Brenner's on the Bayou, and apparently they have like an indoor waterfall or something. I don't know. Sounds like fun. Why not? So I needed a dress, right? I need a dress. And so my sister-in-law is going along, and she was like, I need a dress. Do you want to go shopping? I hate shopping. My sister-in-law loves it. So here's my body positivity or body awareness post, a part of this podcast. I am 5'6". I have a bust measurement of 40 inches. I have a relatively hourglass shape. I have very thick legs, very thick thighs, and I have a longer torso and a very long neck. Okay, so that's why the short hair works. Yay me. My sister-in-law is 4'9", and her shape is round. Her face is round. She has an apple body shape. She is tiny. She is not a chesty person. I think she wears like an A cup or a B cup or something. I wear a D. So I tell you all of these specific things because other than shoes, and bras, and other than underwear and shoes, we wear the exact same size. We went and got dresses, and she picked out like, I don't know how you guys shop for dresses. This is how I shop for dresses. I go through the dress section and I pick up things that, that looks interesting, or I've never tried that style. Let me pick it. And then I go to the dressing room and I try them all on and I process of elimination, and then I'm done. Like, I'm going to go do it all at one time. That's me. Our Macy's has like 4 different dress departments based off of like what kind of dress you want, whether you're juniors or misses or petite, or if you want like night out, formal, or cocktail. Like, they have different sections. So we blew through there, picked up 8 or 10 apiece, got into a dressing room. She took one room, I took the other. We met in the hallway. And it ended up being that she would try on a dress and be like, I don't really like this. And I'd be like, well, I think it's cute. And she would hand it to me. And it would fit me and look great. We both picked out dresses specifically because we both liked them. I liked it on me, but I liked it on her. And she liked it on her, but she liked it on me. So we picked out our top 2 favorites, and we have an open closet deal, so she can just come over and take it and vice versa. Know that your size has absolutely nothing to do with anything. That whatever it is can look just as good on you as it can on somebody who appears to be 2 sizes smaller than you. Because a lot of times, especially with dress sizes, they tend to be a little bit malleable. You know, the fabric can be a little bit stretchier. It can really work to a lot of advantage, you know, to a lot of things. So anyway, I will hopefully take pictures this weekend, and I will stick a picture up, and you'll be able to see the both of us in our dresses, and I'll be able to point out the differences, and you'll be able to see how they fit differently. So basically all of that to say that, I'm sorry, I'm getting notifications, and so I'm kind of losing my train of thought. Something about the maximum something reached on my camera, and then my husband texted me about the inspection this morning. All of this to say that I'm super excited to see the changes that are coming along, not only in the knitting community, but what seems to be the fashion industry as well, about body inclusivity. So Target, I know it's Target. Target, I know for a fact, has a model with a prosthetic leg. I know for a fact they have a model who has, I believe that they're burn scars on quite a bit of her body, and she's beautiful. They're both beautiful women, of course. I know that they have quite a bit of plus size models. I don't know about the men. I don't know about the men's section. I don't know if they have any models that don't fit the classic mold of 6-pack and athletic art, you know, athletic V body, you know what I mean? Because my husband doesn't shop at Target, and so I don't really search through Target. But I'm really happy to see the diversity that's coming through. I purchased my dress at Macy's, and they have a very flattering plus size section. Like, I have to tell you honestly, there were at least two dresses that did not come in my size. They were 1X and above, and I was so mad because they were cuter than the ones that I was getting. So, yeah, sorry, all of this to say, if you think that you can't pull off a style, I really, really encourage you to just try it. Just try it anyway. Just go in there and try. And I know that it's very hard to see ourselves in any way that we don't normally look. So for me, it's very hard for me to try out new styles because I'm not used to seeing myself that way. So I don't know if it looks good or if it's just different, or if it looks bad, or if it's just different, you know? So yeah, that was a lot of fun. I had a good time with that, and I found a dress, and it's simple and something that I'll be able to dress up or down and be able to wear anytime that I want to go out nicely, which will be really cool. Because dresses and skirts are not a go-to for me. I don't think I own like 2 or 3, but I don't ever wear them. It never seems to be a dressy enough day to pull that off, you know? So yeah, this has ended up being quite a long podcast. I'm pretty happy with that. I wanted to say thank you very much for everybody's commentary and nice words about last week's podcast. So I know that we're getting some new faces around here, so welcome and thank you very much for stopping by and subscribing and stuff. And I will do a introduction type post again here pretty soon. I think we're at about 70 subscribers. If we can get to 100, I'll do a giveaway. So yeah, so let your friends know, share the podcast around, and let's see if we can expand our community a little bit and see if there's anybody else who would enjoy this podcast while they're making. Speaking of podcasts you might enjoy while you're making, very quickly, you guys know that I'm a huge Amy Florence fangirl. I love Amy Florence of Stranded. If you do not watch the Stranded podcast, I highly recommend it. She's wonderful. A brand new one to me, she's not brand new, she's got like 60 episodes, so she's been around for a couple of years, and I'm just really late, as always, is the Tea and Possibilities podcast with Nikki. If you don't watch Nikki, I suggest you go do that. She is the best. She's so positive, and I really have enjoyed it. I am the type of person that I like to watch podcasts from the beginning, so I typically watch between 3 and 5 of the most recent, and then if I like what I see, I go all the way back. So not everybody, but I do it for a lot of podcasters, and so I've been doing that with Nikki lately, and she is an absolute doll. So, Tea and Possibilities, I highly recommend it. Another one that I have liked lately is Geordie Knits. So it's like George, but Geordie. And I'll put that on the screen. And Katie is a wonderful podcaster, and she has she does not mince words, and she has some really good thoughts and some really good things to say about some of the stuff that's going on in the community nowadays. And she, I guess everybody goes for the accent. She has a couple of really, really adorable little boys, and she knits on some really good stuff. So, and then you guys know about, I know I've mentioned Hey Brownberry, Mars, who's Hey Brownberry. I know I've mentioned her on the podcast. And Kalisha, who is the Quirky Monday Craftcast from Florida. Kalisha is really sweet. Both of those ladies are absolutely wonderful, and I really recommend you check them out. Yeah, I have a lot of podcasts. I watch a lot of podcasts, so I'm just going to pepper them in as we go and as I find them. And okay, I think I've about reached my limit of words that need to pour out of my mouth. Yeah, that's about what I've got. My brother-in-law is looking for reading recommendations, and he's kind of an all-over reader. So if you have anything that you've really, really enjoyed lately that you think he might like, leave it in the comment box below. Don't forget to get your works in progress on that hashtag for the Summer Sun Make-Along, or get them entered into the Ravelry group. Whips are allowed. Just get them in so that you can be in the drawing for prizes. Joji Locatelli is about to start her Joji Fall Make-Along. You need to go to her Ravelry group. It is Designs by Joji on Ravelry, her Ravelry group, and you need to fill out a form based off of what it is that you're going to enter into her cal in order to be eligible for prizes. You can knit along any way you want, that's fine, but in order to be eligible for prizes, you need to go to the Ravelry group and enter in the form for your project. So I would love to see some of you guys do that. I'm gonna enter. I think I'm gonna do a radiate since I'm just finishing the Spectre, and I haven't decided if I want a Spectre for myself yet. Watch, I'm put sleeves on that, and I'm like, oh, I need one. But I've really been wanting the radiate, and I have yarn for it. I think I'm gonna do it out of this combination right here, which is gonna be the gray for the main and the pink for the ribbing, the radiate. You know, the part that radiates out. So yeah. I would love to see you join me on that. And we will, obviously it's her knit along, but we can at least chat about it over here. So I'm going to be participating in that this year as soon as I get some of the stuff off needles. Okay, have a good weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe. Let me know what you're doing. Leave me your fun stuff. Leave me your bright spots. Leave me your thoughts and opinions and ideas and plans. I want to hear them all. Okay. I'm done prattling. I'm gonna go watch Scooby with my kid. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.